We hear a lot about people having daddy issues, but we rarely talk about women who have mommy issues.
My mother was abusive. I don't think she knew she was abusive, but the most challenging thing is she doesn't acknowledge it at all. Every day I have to gulp down something in order to love her. She cut the belts into strips so that not only would you get one lick, you would get five. Then she would put you in cold water so the whelps wouldn't come up. And then she would fix you dinner and say she loved you. She would line us up naked in front of each other, and we waited our turn. So now we looking at each other's bodies, waiting for the abuse. Whatever you did, she had to control it. And the helplessness is overwhelming. It crushes you in a space that it takes a lifetime to dig from under.
Of course.
She just disciplined us the way she was taught to discipline.
But what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a red carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here. What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw that clip. I'm gonna use that clip, and I'm probably gonna title this "Love Is Pain," because what I listened to made me think of sometimes she couldn't even admit her mother was abusive, and she gave her a pass of thinking she didn't know she was. And I'm like, no, it sounds like she's very premeditated, and she was very premeditated with abusing you and your siblings. But after she abused you, she love bombed you, and you were confused. And then I thought about it, and I was like, oftentimes people don't correlate that abuse and love bombing that they got, as you say, from mom, for the ladies, as the actual basis and the foundation of your quote unquote toxic relationships with men, because you go into your adult life thinking, you know, there's a certain amount of pain and suffering that goes with love. And you attribute it to that's just men being men, but a lot of times we don't attribute it to being in a family where a mother was abusive but manipulated you through love. So all of the lies and the games and the manipulation and the backstabbing, is forgiven time and time again, and you thinking you're being a bigger person because by the actions of love has painful moments, right? So you can get played and cheated on or whatever, but hey, that's because in a real loving relationship we're gonna have some abusive moments, and it's like not really, not really. But I see that as being a constant thing that's overlooked, because when she said her mother wouldn't acknowledge it, but you have to, she said how she said she had to gulp down part of herself to keep loving her, like, so that can spill over into relationships. It reminds me of how people say, I don't want to dim my light or whatever, right? Or take a back seat, or I don't want to play second fiddle to you, whatever. It's a bunch of terms, but it means the same thing. And that could stem from situations where you felt like you was, you know, giving away part of your life just to tolerate a person that you think loves you, but the actions don't say that. And even when it comes to the family dynamic, you have some families that'll tell you, family's supposed to stick together no matter what. And there's certain family members that are just they're just not good people. And there's no reason for you to be around them. But this idea that because we're family, all your transgressions should be forgiven and overlooked. And it's like, no, no, no. And when you break away from that, you break away from the model of love being pain. So, as the lady was talking about, daddy issues, but they're talking about mommy issues. Sometimes they'll say the mother's the first teacher, but some of y'all weren't never asked the question, how was I taught to love by this particular person? And if you were taught to love a person through manipulation and love bombing, what do you see happening currently in society? You know, I can love you and screw you over. That doesn't, excuse me, that doesn't seem to be a problem, right? Like people can justify screwing you over with the idea that I love you. And you see the same parenting with parents and kids. They're abusing their kids or sabotaging their kids or neglecting their kids, but let me love bomb these kids, because if I love bomb them, they'll be confused about what's right and what's wrong. Thus, sometimes that's the actual cycle that needs to be broken, that love is pain. And a lot of times I think it's overlooked, because just like she was saying, she was giving her mother a pass and she was making excuses for her mother. But you can make excuses for yourself and your behavior with that mindset. You can make excuses for another person who might be doing you wrong with their behavior with that mindset. You can make excuses for your kids being a certain way with that mindset. And because of that, the cycle of disrespect is it keeps going on and on and on, because the abuse is hidden in love. You get what I'm saying? It's like somebody punching you in the face and giving you flowers, and you take the flowers because you're like, well, I mean, that was crazy, but this is great. It's crazy. But to get accustomed to that, you have to grow up in that type of environment. So to me, some people can't break out of that, and some people wind up repeating it. But to me, it's a bad situation. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, know I gave you everything I had.